I have my earphones on because I think the microphone's a little bit better. Um, I noticed that in some of the videos the audio is cutting in and out. However, uh, there's some sort of clicks and pops happening on my audio, and it has nothing to do with drawing or anything else. It's just appearing, and it's not on the actual recording because I record it through my application for my camera. So, on the phone itself instead of recording it through YouTube. I'm not even sure if you can record through YouTube. I guess you probably could. I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough. But yeah, so I'm gonna try this through the headphones and see how this turns out. But this is the second video. Um, Two things that I thought about. Horrible migraine. It's so bad. Um, One, I don't care. I don't care what has transpired, what I've unfortunately come across. It doesn't matter to me. It's not important. Um, Despite these videos, I don't have uh, I don't have harsh words really for anyone. I mean, maybe Melissa Nelson because she's the highest elected official in Northeast Florida. She really should do a better job vetting the material that's used for evidence before she charges somebody. That's her responsibility. That's very important. You can ruin people's careers, their lives. There's no way I could go and get, if I didn't have the work that I have lined up, there's no way I'd be screwed, utterly screwed. And in some cases, I mean, at least in two cases, I know for a fact that I have been prejudiced against because of what's going on. I know I have. And yet I did not do what I've been charged with. That's not true. You could say it's harassment, sure. But to say it has anything at all to do with stalking, that is an outright outrageous, egregious, horrific charge to make. And it has no business being anywhere associated with my name at all whatsoever. I really, truly, honestly believe that Miss Nelson knows better. I think that by now she has looked into me. And she knows better. She knows the difference. I think she knows that she's messed up. And now she doesn't know how to do anything to fix it other than supposedly try to train me to keep my mouth shut from talking about her mistakes. It's the truth. But you know, this recent raid operation in Jacksonville is going to prove to be Tim Gasson's undoing. And Tim Gasson is real. Their witness, my ex, has lied on the witness stand, has lied to Gigi. Gabriella Rivera, as much as she would love to come after me, as much as she's enjoyed filing additional charges of assault against me for saying that I was going to commit suicide to my ex because I'm out of options. I don't see any other way. I mean, it's either die in Duval County lockup with a $60,000 bounty on my head and street gangs being the ones to do the job stab me in the shower, or die by my own hand. So that can't really be considered assault because you're leaving me no options. I'm going to die either way. And you guys think it's all in my head, and it's not. Because when's the last time, Gabriella Rivera, when is the last time, Gigi, that you've gone on the dark web? Look me up on the dark web. Have your investigators look me up on the dark web. You'll find there's a Bitcoin bounty on my head. Criminals know about it. Why don't y'all? The HELOC that I paid money into to pay off was then at Navy Federal for the house located at 11358. That HELOC money was borrowed from by Timothy Gasson and used to buy Bitcoin in order to create a contract, digital contract for my murder. I'll take a lie detector test. That's 100% the truth. You guys revoking my bond is a death sentence. I would not survive Duval County lockup. There's no way. There is no way. You can deny it if you want to. But if I get pulled over, I get extradited back to Duval County. You're looking at a dead man. Miss Rivera, whether you want to believe it or not, that's exactly what you're looking at. I don't know if you think it's cute or funny. I don't know if you believe in justice, but you have not looked into your witness. And it's a shame. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm here to tell you I'm innocent. And those emails, if you had the originals in your hand, and I mean the originals, not something, not one thing about it. I mean the ones sent those very nights that those went out. If you had all of them in hand, you would know how wrong you are about me. I will voluntarily turn over all access to any account I had access to and every single email. I mean, I want to do that. And that's not just talking the talk. I want to hand them over to you. I don't know the proper way to go about that anymore because y'all haven't acknowledged any evidence that I've tried to send your way. Nobody has ever reached out to me at all in any of this, throughout any of it. And that's what's so unbelievable is that it was no secret about what was going on with me, about my product's liability case. It's all over the internet. All you had to do is look, type my name in, and then you'd see it. So, guy wins a $10 million verdict, but has outstanding stalking charges against him, aggravated stalking. Like, why is it so difficult for y'all to look at the bigger picture? I mean, is it impossible to believe that something much larger is afoot here? How could you proceed to go forward without having both sides of an argument? How does one do that? I was virtually in the same place for months. I was in Selma, Alabama at 110 Aljo Curve for months and months and months. Nobody nobody ever called the house. That number is known. No investigators came by. The chief of police for Selma Police Department and the sheriff for Dallas County, they were regulars at the house, and nobody said a word to me. And they saw me and met me and shook my hand multiple times. I mean, they were over to the house regularly, at least once or twice a week, because my dad runs his law practice out of the back of the house. Nobody ever said anything to me at all. Not one word. How am I supposed to think that there is not corruption afoot here if you don't even want to talk to me? How am I supposed to think that this isn't specifically being done because Timothy Gasson's son, Joseph Gasson, at least at one point was a sheriff's deputy, if he's not still? I imagine he is back. And Joseph Gasson lived on a lane in the house of question that has the $267,752,000 line of credit from Goldman Sachs attached to it. Your deputy, Joseph Gasson, lived in that house with his ex-wife. I'm not supposed to think that there's something corrupt. Oh, y'all are gonna make a deal, but you're gonna take it off the table. Why? Because I'm discovering this stuff. You don't like it, Miss Nelson? You're gonna take deals off the table because I take you to task over how corrupt it all looks. I don't want your deal because I'm not guilty. The only time I became guilty is after false charges were filed against me. And no one took the time to pull me aside and talk to me about what was going on. Nobody. Nobody took the time to call me. I wasn't hiding or anything. Your witness had my address the entire time, and I did not leave there. I was there the whole time. So you don't have an excuse. There is no good excuse for what you've done. That's the truth. You have all the money and all the time in the world. You don't care. You can chew someone up and spit them out. You can destroy someone's liberty at your whim. What is it your father said, Melissa? To respect the power you wield over people's lives? Where's the respect in my case? Where have you shown me respect for being your voter? Where's due process? Your witness knew the day of that court date that I was going to be covered up in mediation. She knew it. She had every opportunity to speak up and say, well, I know that would be bad for him, and I want this to be fair and just, and because I really want this to be above reproach, and I want this to absolutely go forward so that I am protected and nothing gets called into question in the future about how things were done. So we need to cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and make sure that this dangerous person cannot come toward me ever again. That's not what was done here. That was not the steps that were taken at all. At all. This was rushed through as fast as possible, which stinks of a bribe. You mean to tell me she could get a court date that fast from the 15th to the 29th? That fast? You mean to tell me she could do that on the 15th, even though the day before was the 14th, my birthday, in which I sent the first email where I mentioned Lindsay Sturgis's name? And she just gets it without question. Nobody says, wait a minute, this might be a jealous ex-girlfriend with an axe to grind. Nobody says that? Okay. Well, until somebody does say that, the system is flawed. I don't know what the nature of every single meeting has been with the petitioner and your staff, but I said it before and I'll say it again, it doesn't look squeaky clean at all. And this overture of, yeah, there was a deal on the table, but because you went on YouTube, it's off the table. Right out the gate. What kind of message do you think that really sends? Oh, I don't plan on there being another offer. I don't want there to be another offer because I'm innocent. And I'm not backing down. Like I said on Facebook, stand me up at the gates of hell. I'm not going to back down. I'm right. You're wrong. You chose to listen to someone who has severe mental health problems. I've been through a lot. I've been absolutely dragged through the mud for the last 6 years. However, none of it is as painful as this situation. And although my son's, that was pretty close to it. none of it has been as painful as this situation. And um, if you seriously took the time to talk to everybody in the house, I highly doubt that you'd find one person that would ever, other than the petitioner, you won't find a person amongst her children that would say I was violent. Not a single one of them would say I was violent. You won't find anyone in Jacksonville that will say that I'm a violent person. You won't find anyone in Tallahassee that will say I'm a violent person. You won't find anyone in Los Angeles, Paris, France, Florence, South Carolina. You won't find anyone in the entire history of my life that would say that I'm a violent person at all. Now you got me facing 21, possible 21 years. The only crime I've ever committed was a DUI, and I wasn't drunk then either. But I didn't know the difference between standing up for what's right or pleading no contest because I don't have money to have a fight in court. But now this, I mean, if I have to fight for myself pro se, I'll do it. I'm not guilty. I didn't do it. You took manufactured evidence and rushed it through. You accepted manufactured evidence and you rushed it through the court system. Now, if it was, whether it was Melissa Nelson or Gabriella Rivera or whoever, I think there was a third person, a male name attached to this in the beginning, which I suspect, if it was a male, I suspect he had an inappropriate relationship with the petitioner. Let me prove that. Yeah, let me prove that. I will. I would love to find that out. That would explain a lot more. Because then I know that there wasn't a bribe. It was just whoopee. So there has to be an explanation for all of this and why it's happening to me. And it's a lot more than just I keep screwing up and saying the wrong things over YouTube, or I keep screwing up and emailing her. Thinking we can be adults and be reasonable. No. There's more to this that's going on. And the funny thing is that because I know that, the actual petitioner, she thinks if we were to sit down and have a conversation that I have some sort of lecture to give her. I don't have a single thing to say to her. Not just because of you guys, but if she were to drop all charges, you guys were to see the error of your ways and dismiss subsequent charges. She and I were to sit down at a table like adults and discuss the differences. I don't have anything to say. I don't know where to begin. I don't have anything to say. I would look her straight in the eye just like I'm looking at you guys now. And I would just sit there and wait until it's time to go or there's something to be said to me, because I have no clue, no clue what has actually happened since December 1st, 2023. I literally don't know. I don't understand it. Nobody's explained it to me. Nobody has ever actually said specifically that the relationship had ended. Nobody. Not her. Nobody. I've said it because I figured that's what's going on to some extent. But then if I go to be in another relationship, I end up with charges on me. So I don't get it. Nobody's explained it to me. I'm sorry if I have a learning disability. I'm not usually considered someone that is slow in my mental faculties. I have an extremely horrific tunnel vision issue that comes with compulsion from hyperactivity disorder. I can't help it. I've always been this way. If this wasn't the most important thing in my life, I would be this way toward Lamborghinis right now. I don't know why, but I've always been this way. I don't have my medicine. I haven't been on it. Obviously, I mean, I was gonna try to figure out how to get back on it, but I'm not in the wrong. Even without the medicine, I'm not in the wrong. Y'all are wrong. You are. Your witness knows it. She knows me. She knows what she's doing. And no, I don't have. If she were to reverse course, I don't have anything to yell at her about. I don't have anything to. I don't know what happened. I don't have. I mean, that's why there's so many emails of me stabbing in the dark so many times, trying to figure out what happened. After 4 years, what happened? And the majority of the emails are all guesses as to what's going on. And I thought at some point I would guess right, or I don't know. I thought at some point I would be told specifically what I'd done wrong. Because when I was asked to leave, I was told it's not my fault. I've done nothing wrong. If I've done nothing wrong, then why all of a sudden, randomly out of the blue, was I called up and told I was crap? And then when I hung up, I discovered that before the call was placed, she had blocked me everywhere without notice, without anything. I don't understand any of it. But you guys doing, I could expect this from her because I always figured she was bipolar. But for you guys to join in on this and not do the due diligence, I'm sorry, but if it's what am I supposed to think? That your office, Melissa Nelson, your office isn't corrupt? Why wouldn't you call me and ask me what's going on? Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you destroy my reputation by charging me before you investigated it? It's an easy enough question to answer. You can answer it yourself by emailing me back or respond on YouTube. Gabriella Rivera, you could respond back. I mean, it's good that Janet is going to be involved as soon as this money hits her account. Ryan's not. Ryan Peters is not. I think he charged me like 35,000, maybe 30. I think it was 35. I had to sign for it before I could even get out of jail. I had to sign the contract. It was the first thing he put in front of me too. And there was other things to be signed before that were far more important. But before I could leave the jail and sign the other things I had to sign in order to leave the jail, like with the bondsman and anything else, I had to sign his contract. $35,000, I think it was. It was 25. I think it was 35 though. And I played 17 phone calls to him over the course of 3.5 months. I got one phone call back, an irritated, annoyed phone call back in all that time. And not a return phone call out of 17 phone calls otherwise. 3 messages I left for his specifically talked to his assistant and never a phone call back. He didn't call me back. Even when he said he would call me back, he didn't call me back and did not keep more than 6 appointments that he himself made and set and then never called. I had to tell him that unless he could guarantee that he would actually keep the appointment, that I would no longer accept any other appointments from him until I had his absolute assurance that he was going to keep them, because he was taking me away from being able to earn a living for nothing. He pretty much failed me in every way possible. And so he didn't even have a case narrative the last time Gigi saw him in person. He didn't have a case narrative in hand. He's never had one. I wrote it. He didn't. I tried to train him over the phone before he went in there, but he was like a screaming gerbil. Ah, where are you? Live Oak's finest right there. Yeah. If he would have, I mean, he didn't have time to show up for court on the 23rd, and yet he had time on the 24th to put in to drop me as his client, and then keep the 35,000 I've given him. I'm sorry, but if his license is hanging by a thread, then I think it is. You guys are golden next to what I have to write to the Florida bar about the behavior of Ryan Peters, because this is just astonishing. I mean, 3.5 months he had to work on this and didn't do a damn thing. And I couldn't, I kept calling and calling and calling and calling and calling and calling and calling. You know, why had he not reached out to you guys from the get and brought us all together and had us sit down and talked? That's what I asked for. More than anything, more than, this never would have ballooned into all of this. I assure you of that. We would never have gotten off on a wrong footing. There would not be any YouTube videos. None of this would exist if he had done his job. And he charged I'm telling you, he charged a lot. That's why I'm pretty sure it's either like 35 or 45. I don't feel like it was 45. I feel like it was 35. But he charged a lot for literally doing absolutely nothing. The questions that he had to ask at deposition, every single one of them I came up with. And half of them he didn't even ask. And he didn't fact check anything. And just really, really overwhelmingly unprepared. I have 10,000 pieces of evidence for the FBI, Homeland Security. I have been in touch with them even before I was arrested in August. Even the day before I was arrested in August, I was in touch with Homeland Security because I was afraid that the petitioner had been sex trafficked. I was very worried about her, like, personal security, because she absolutely, the last time I heard from her, she did not sound like herself. She did not, she was very drunk over the phone. She was slurring, either that or she was on a lot of dope. She was slurring her speech so bad I could barely understand her. It was horrible. Um, I reached out to the FBI and to Homeland Security because who do I have around Jacksonville to contact? It took a long time for me to recognize that I went from, somebody that I've been with for 4 years, who I knew that I knew something was wrong. It was like mental illness. It had to be, because who automatically, out of the blue, randomly attacks somebody and says the cruelest things they can think of in order to get them to explode? Who does that? The overall tactic that's always used against me is whatever it will take in order to get me to explode. And then she can come in and look like the calm one. That's the tactic. And she's used it very well. She would gaslight me that way to get me to explode. And she knows that I'm artistic by nature and that I'm kind of odd and different than most people. And she got jealous and she got mad because I'm supposed to wait, like, in a jar, or in this case, in a prison cell, so that she can come by and visit me and then leave and keep me under wraps exactly where she wants me. and control me, just like she did when I lived with her. I just got tired of it. I got tired of being abused. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be abused anymore. And I decided to stand up for myself. And that turned into all of this. And so hopefully it's unintentional, but you guys are helping an abuser continue to abuse both the system and me. And you're not paying attention. You're just not. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you haven't accepted bribes or whatever, then you're just not doing your job and you're not paying attention. I really wish you would. I really wish y'all would take me up on the offer. Look at every email I sent in total. Look at what she sent. And make sure they're real. Make sure what you're looking at has not been altered. If you do that, then you'll find the truth. And I'm not scared of the truth. She's terrified of the truth. I am not a dangerous man at all. Y'all have made a mistake. That's why I say Melissa Nelson should be ashamed of herself. Whether she got busy and I slipped through the cracks or something more nefarious took place, all of this is wrong. And I think you guys know it.